Yeah, I know it took me 8 days, but I'm back at it. And I'm gonna make part 2 of LEGO Star Wars. So I forgot to mention in the previous video on that Tantive 4 level that if you want about the Death Star plans that Leia gave to R2D2. If you, if you want to know where they got the Death Star plans, you should watch the movie Rogue One. Although I highly recommend at least watching the original trilogy first, which is what this whole game's based off of. And also, now I think about it, I should have done the first Lego Star Wars first, because the levels are much shorter, but it's fine. Alright, gotta... Oh, wait, wrong menu. No. Go back. Yeah, I left the game in there. Oh wait, I forgot to plug it back in. Plug it in. I got it. Bruh, it does that every single time. I can't even boot right into the game. I have to only do this because of the dead clock battery in there. There it is. So this next level is after it takes place after the two droids leave. They leave the Tantive 4 and then they land on Tatooine and they both separate after they get in a funny argument, and then they get kidnapped by the Jawas. The Jawas sell droids for money. They're like they're the species that live on the desert planet Tatooine. And then they get taken to and then eventually they get to a camp of a farm that's owned by a family, and then the guy who claims the droids themselves is Luke Skywalker, who you've probably heard of. He just lives on a farm and he doesn't know that he's force sensitive, and then he decides to go out into the wilderness of no, not the wilderness, but like the desert where all the Tusken Raiders are, which are a hostile species to a lot of people. And then he gets attacked by the Tusken Raiders, and Obi-Wan, a former Jedi, sees him. Although he's called Ben Kenobi. And then he sees Luke and is like, "Hello there." And then he helps Luke get back up, and then that's when the level starts. That's when the level itself, the playable part, starts. Yeah, you should, if you want to know everything that's going on, you should watch the movie A New Hope. See, there it is. Through the Junlin Waste. That's what the region is called. The Junlin Waste. And those little bitty guys, those brown ones, they're the Tusken. No, they're the Jawas. And that's Luke right there in his camp. And those are the two droids that they're looking at, the ones that are going forward. The Tusken Raiders just come and attack him. And there's Obi-Wan. I mean, Ben, sorry. He's Ben Kenobi here. And then that's when the level starts. I really like the music here. And for some reason, because not for some reason, but like they give a bunch of characters blasters in this game because they don't have any weapons to fight with in the movies, most of them at least. Because I don't expect that Luke would have a blaster at this time. And Obi-Wan, or oh sorry, Ben Kenobi, I'm gonna call him just simply Ben. He has a lightsaber, and that introduces a new mechanic into the game. So you could just attack normally, or you could like spam the button to make certain things happen. You could hold down the button to block. And then you could jump, and then you could do this by jumping and using the lightsaber. And if you double jump and use the lightsaber, you could slam on the ground. And these animals here, these are the banthas. They're actually in the media. In this game, this came out before there was any sequel trilogy. There were only the first 6 movies at the time. There were barely even any shows at the time when this came out, so they just had to rely on what they had to rely on. Yeah, this is why you shouldn't go to the Junlin Waste. There is a lot of Tusken Raiders here. I don't even know how long I've spent on this level so far. I don't think I want to know either. You've already been at this for like 8 minutes? Seriously? I don't believe that. So yeah, these objects here, these are objects that can only be moved by dark side characters, which there are only 2 of in the game, Darth Vader and Darth Sidious. I'll tell you about those characters later. And I'll even spoil a bit for when we get to the first game, the one with the shorter levels, which takes place in the prequel trilogy, episodes 1, 2, and 3. This takes place in the original trilogy, episode 4, which is the first one that came out. It's kind of confusing. I don't know if I talked about True Jedi, but it's if you get a certain amount of studs, then you get a True Jedi. And the True Jedi meter here is over 100,000, so I don't know if I'm gonna get it in the time of this video. Even Obi-Wan's running away. He's scared of the Tusken Raider. I could have been so far into the level, but like I can't. But like because like there's so many of them, and I keep on getting distracted. He keeps on running away. He just doesn't want to be here. He's scared, even though he's like one of the most powerful Jedi of all time. And he has abandoned the Order for 19 years after Order 66, which I'll also talk about way later. Finally, I made it to the next area. And there's just more Tusken Raiders. Yeah, and when you die, you lose your stuff, so that's terrible. Yeah, this music's creepy. So this right here, these are the Jawa's vehicles. They're called sand crawlers. These are how they transport across the desert, because this entire planet, close to the size of Earth, called Tatooine, it has a lot of desert. There's a ton of desert there. A ton. I just force destroyed that enemy. Not really an enemy though. Just a dude. And by the way, just to update some status, my friend said he is not playing Fortnite for a while, so I guess they're just gonna have to rely on these videos. It's gonna be kind of difficult for me to consistently make these, especially since yesterday I got tested positive for COVID. here, it's kind of like a puzzle, but it's more like a one-dimensional puzzle, if you know what I mean. It's like the puzzle equivalent of a labyrinth is what it is. Like, Luke can get to some things that Ben can't. Finally got that right, Ben. In objects like this, these objects, you need characters with detonator bombs to blow them up. And those characters are bounty hunters, like Boba Fett. Oh, Obi-Wan is glitched. There we go. So when you go in there, that takes you inside the Sandcrawler, which I'm not gonna do yet. There. So now we are about halfway through the level and already 16 minutes through. This is gonna be a long video. I hope y'all can sit through it. So yeah, because there wasn't as much information about Star Wars at the time, not all of this is 100% accurate, because they don't really have the exact translation. They didn't really have the exact translations about what everything was about yet. Although they did have the first 6 movies, and that's what they had to rely on. I'm gonna beat up the Jawas. Or I could just do this. Like, bruh. Ugh. I think there's just infinite Jawas on the Sandcrawler. I bet that's the case. Yeah. These levels in this game, I'm telling you, you think this is long? Well, they get longer, so be ready. Be a Jedi like Obi-Wan, or at least have the spirit of one. There's R2-D2 at the other side. So this part here, it's like another puzzle, but this one isn't necessarily a one-dimensional puzzle like earlier. You gotta hold down this lever, and whichever one of these ends you push the box to is the one that opens. Which I want to get this done a little quicker. I've spent like 30 minutes on this level before. There, he's now part of the party. And why you get R2 is so you can open this door right here. Even later ones. This is not how it works in the movie. In the movie, they're just given the droids, but so there's something more to play. They don't just simply give them to you here. I can't even. Alright. So here it's kind of another one-dimensional puzzle. There's two gong droids, which are like giant batteries, giant walking batteries, and you need them to get C-3PO using this R2 panel, this astromech panel. And you gotta kill these Jawas, I guess, because they'll disable the droids. That's how they get the droids. They disable them. Oh wait. Wrong. Alright, now we're going back outside. This part of the level is like another one-dimensional puzzle, but it's a more difficult and more complicated Where's this man? There. Let me see how far we got into the video. 25 minutes? We're not even done? it'll probably take us like 40 minutes. It'll probably take me like 40 minutes to complete the level, like at all. Oh, I already filled up that pit. Ah. Yeah, that part, the previous part with the emptying the pits, that was a puzzle. That was the complicated one-dimensional puzzle I was talking about. There are so many of them, making their sound. Oh. Oh, another pit to empty. Another one. Another one. Another. And another. And another one. Oh, and by the way, there's still much more level. There still is more level. I am not kidding. This is such a long level. We've been here for like 30 minutes. I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to upload this to YouTube because of how long it is. Or at least with the status that my account is. I've seen much longer videos than this. I've watched and sat down to watch in one sitting videos longer than this. That was a double score zone. In double score zones, you get when you get studs, they give twice as much. And studs in this game, the silver studs give 10, the gold studs give 100, and the blue studs give 1,000. More level. Is this level ever gonna end? So I think you can't actually drain this, but you can go to the other side. Oh, now there's stormtroopers. Oh, sorry, sand troopers. The desert stormtroopers are called sand troopers. What are stormtroopers? Oh yeah, I forgot. I think this is supposed to be Luke's camp, and that here. Oh wait, there they are. At Luke's camp, his family was killed by the stormtroopers. Or rather, his aunt and his uncle was killed by the stormtroopers. The Imperials. And I'm pretty sure the level after this is even longer. The level after this is like the longest level in the entire, all 6 levels in episode 4. And there's still episode 5 and episode 6, which each have their own 10, which each have their own 6 levels individually. And episodes 5 and episode 6 have potentially even longer levels than even the longest level in episode 4. So we're gonna be here for like 2 hours on some of those levels. So yeah, you gotta step on all 4 of these buttons, and the lever will be let out. And then you gotta go inside. That was Leia. And that's Anakin's lightsaber before he turned into Darth Vader. Oh, and I forgot, I wasn't supposed to spoil that. I'll tell you more about Darth Vader in episode 5, when we get to episode 5. Or rather, his backstory. Yeah, we could talk about Darth Vader, but I won't tell you more about him other than that. Other than his Imperial ranking and his Imperial job until episode 5. Because he is a very complex character. Oh, by the way, we're done with the level if you didn't notice. That was long. Let me see how long that took. 35 minutes. Wow. I'm about to slam this GameCube into the window. I'd say that the next level will take like 45 minutes at least. It's so long. Anyways, I'm uploading this.